my fellow Lotus Up and Thinkers LLC with podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy main woods of South Florida, and today's date is Tuesday, June 19th, 2018. Yes, I am at Squiggy's New York Pizzeria, New York style pizzeria to be exact, located at 207 Southwest 2nd Street in the Himmershey district of Fort Lauderdale. Check it out, Mom, Pa, corporate free, I would say, right? Now the good folks here. Yeah, so a lot of stuff is happening around the city of Fort Lauderdale. It looks like this part of the Himmershey district to be exact. Got the Illusionist going on. Thought it was going to be a Broadway, but actually became a magic show. There's some student debate happening at Revolution Live, and of course, and as well as things going on in America's backyard. So a lot of kids are out there trying to debate. I'm just real curious of what stuff they're going to be talking about, and hopefully they had enough merit to back up their views. And I say that in good faith. Ooh, yeah. So a lot of stuff is happening. Trade wars. You know, people are getting mad on the tariffs issue and so forth. But when you look at the past, World Trade Organization, NAFTA, and GATT, it becomes a burden within a period of time. And actually, who is pulling the strings on this? And don't be surprised if the banksters want to have war with these countries so they can benefit and see more people get wasted on their own watch. The folks better start looking at the bigger picture, because there's a lot more what they want to tell you on the mainstream news. Yeah, so while I was just checking out this, doing a little homework here and there, I got a few things up my sleeve I'm going to be talking about. And one that got me, I could thank Stefan and Molyneux for this, about what's going on in the European Union. The Parliament wants to do this ordeal on copyright referendum, which is entitled Article 13. Delete Article 13 is the main topic on here. So we're just I'm gonna be, just how to put this to light, which is, I'm glad people are sharing this, because right now all around Europe and Asia and the world are focusing. A lot of them are focusing on the World Cup tournament. So remember, it's okay to enjoy sports and entertainment, but always pay attention, because sometimes these vampires, Orwellian vampires, want to do things right under our noses. Okay, it's nothing new at all. So I'll give hats off to all those folks that shared the information. I did set my petition in to say no on Article 13. So we'll be talking about this, and a lot of this come from multiple sites, and mainly from the Freedom Post, but it's all from multiple sources. So if you know about the website, you understand where I'm coming from. And this was entitled "New Copyright Law Could Make Current and Future Internet Memes Illegal to Share." So in Europe, if you have something, if you're making fun of Macron, for example, pulling down his pants to like Ariel Sharon, for example, just be some more sarcasm, they could say that's illegal, copyright infringement. So we'll just say what John Vibes had to say about this. And it says here, posted memes, remixes, and other similar content could soon be banned from the web in the European Union, according to the critics who are speaking out against a recently proposed copyright law. The law, known as Copyright Directive, will be voted on later this month by the European Parliament, and lawmakers suggest that this will protect content creators in the internet age. We will protect you. Yes, even if it's going to ram it right down your rear end. However, one of the primary reasons why the internet age has brought so much innovation and novelty is because of the fact that a large aggregate of people are able to share their ideas and build upon ideas of others to create something uniquely special. Article 13 of the proposed bill calls on platform providers such as Google, Facebook, and web hosts to take measures to ensure the functioning of agreements concluded with rights holders for the use of their work. I guess while the European Union was asking questions on Zuckerberg, which he's just another CFR New World Order stooge himself, and don't be surprised if some of the clowns in Washington, D.C. had that up in their minds as well. We know how these politicians think, right? All having something in common. They want hungry for lust of power before they croak. This type of policy would create a slippery slope that could very quickly lead to a situation where platforms are required to add filter for the content that is shared through them, which will restrict the ability for creators to do something as simple as creating memes or a remix of a song. When the law was first suggested, the Electronic Frontier Foundation and 56 other civil society organizations sent an open letter to European lawmakers warning of the possible implications of this law. The letter reads, Article 13 introduces new obligations on Internet service providers that share and store user-generated content such as video of sharing platforms or even creative writing websites, including obligations to filter uploads to their services. Article 13 appears to provoke such legal uncertainty that online services will have no other option than to monitor, filter, and block EU citizen communications if they are to have any chances of staying in business. Article 13 would force these companies to actively monitor their users' content, which contradicts the no general obligation to monitor rules in the Electronic Commerce Directive. The requirement to install a system for filtering electronic communications has twice been rejected by the Court of Justice in the cases Scarlet Extended C-7010 and Netlog Sabam C-36010. Therefore, a legislative provision that requires internet companies to install a filtering system would almost certainly be rejected by the Court of Justice because it would contravene the requirement that a fair balance be struck between the right to intellectual property on the one hand and the freedom to conduct business and the right of freedom of expression, such as to receive or impart information on the other. Last week, Jim Killock, executive order of the UK's Open Rights Group, told the BBC that Article 13 would create a robo-copyright regime where machines zap anything they identify as breaking copyright rules, despite legal bans on laws that require general monitoring of users to protect their privacy. Unfortunately, while machines can spot duplicate uploads of Beyonce songs, they can spot parodies, understand memes that use copyright images, or may make any kind of cultural judgment about what creative people are doing. We see this all too often on YouTube already. To add that, the EU wants to apply the Robocop approach to extremism, hate speech, and anything else they can get away with once they put it in place for copyright. This would be disastrous, Killick added. He's absolutely correct. Intellectual property is often sold as a legal measure to protect artists from scammers who may attempt to replicate their brand, but more often than not, these types of legal avenues are taken advantage of by opportunists and exploited by publishers to the detriment of truly creative people. In the past, it was nearly impossible to implement such controls over the internet, but now with the complicated algorithms and the compliance of Silicon Valley tech companies, freedom on the internet is under constant threat. And this was originally posted by the Free Thought Project, so just to let you folks know. And you know what? It's all it is, man. It's just information, more information. I can put memes up there once in a while. I think I find them hilarious. Doesn't matter. I love political sarcasm. You go to my main pages, Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus. I put that on there a great amount of times. Doesn't matter who's in there. And one of the things you gotta understand for sure, because if they're gonna be using robotic or automated monitoring, it can just be programmed to any measures necessary and assume by the programmer to just zap anything they want. And that is pretty damn dangerous. Of course, small business will get the short end of the stick and these big mega corporations will take over. This is more of a possible fascistic platform. And as I said, I boldly oppose this, and I am going to add a link to this on SaveTheInternet.eu. Stop the censorship machine, delete Article 13, and it says here. Hold on here. It says here, you don't let the EU break our internet. Tell your MEP to save it before 20th of June. On June 20th, the European Parliament will vote on a copyright directive. Members of the Parliament are the only ones that can stand in the way of bad copyright legislation. Tell them you need them to protect your internet against surveillance and censorship machines. stand up and ask Europe to protect your internet. And to give you a big example, how is the internet awesome? How is it threatened? And what can I do? So they give you these links on here of what to do, sharing platforms, parodies, and all that. Article 13 threatens everything you do on the internet, and you can send me your address, petition, and all that. It's good stuff. So I posted on here. Filtering the internet is not the solution. Say no to Article 13. And it talks about the fundamental rights and freedoms that our country were built on. The entire EU community will create legal uncertainty for decades to come. So they're telling Alex Voss, all these people say no to it. It will burn. It will blow up in everyone's faces. I guarantee you that. And remember, if you study history of government, they love to censor people. And they did censor people just to brainwash the community. So that's why the free flow of information is important. And of course, save your internet from the censorship machine, delete Art 13, copyright, and all that good stuff. So do it for sure. Go out there, especially my brothers and sisters in the European Union community. Make it happen. And I know a lot of you are. And we gotta look at it this way too, my friends. If this goes, North America, the rest of these areas could be next, and it'll be like, hey, China on steroids. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to internet censorship and owning everything, that's what it leads down to it. When you give the government an inch, they will take a mile or a mega kilometer. All right, so that's one thing I can tell you that for sure. So definitely eject this, shred this to oblivion. And I guarantee you one thing: if they do try to make this happen, it's going to backfire big time. Expect more piracy, and people are going to have their own servers real soon. They'll be laughing at them. I could see that happening when we least expect it. So definitely delete Article 13, period. Say no to censorship and yes to freedom of expression. As long as you don't violate others, of course. You know, some people like to ask me some stupid questions. I should every time I should just charge them like, you know, $5 a stupid question. But yes, but definitely. So I'm going to add that to the memo as well. So next one here. And this one here came out today as well. As Earth the Democrats, Trump did not separate these kids from their parents. Their parents are south of the border. This is by Dean Garrison. Let's see what Mrs. Garrison has to say about this. When I hear the party of baby killers, aka the Democrats, argue for the rights of children, I must pause to fully absorb the hypocrisy. Let me see if I'm understanding this correctly. Are the liberals mad because these poor immigrants were too destitute to afford abortions in their home countries, or are they mad because their parents abandoned their children while they continue to live in Central and South America? That's the truth, which they conveniently forget. Don't tell them to lie to you. Don't let them lie to you, America. This is nothing but political fodder, and we need to get the truth. DHS Secretary Christine Nielsen set much of the record straight on Monday via Breitbart. During the White House news conference on Monday evening, Nielsen debunked the media's false claims that conflate all child border crossers as being from their border crossing parents. Nielsen said that the vast majority of the 12,000 child border crossers in federal custody were actually sent to the southern border along with human smugglers. And that does happen, don't get me wrong. That does occur. It's been happening a lot. Even going on in Europe as well. Just to give you guys an example. One moment here. So there's this. But yeah. So I'll be right back. Just stay tuned here. All right, cool. So yeah. So the next one I'll be talking about. I'm going to continue on here. The reporter says, how is this is not specific to child abuse for these innocent children who are needed being separated from their parents. Nielsen said, so I want to be clear on a couple other things. The vast majority of the children who are in the care of HHS right now, 10,000 of the 12,000 were sent alone by their parents. That's when they were separated. So somehow we conflated everything, but there's two separate issues. 10,000 of those currently in custody were sent by parents or strangers undertaking completely dangerous and deadly travel alone. We care for them now. We have high standards. We give them meals. We give them education. We give them medical care. There's videos. There's TV. I visit detention centers myself. That would be my answer to that question. Interesting there. So there's a video on that for those who don't remember the entire situation was created by the Democrats and the policies of the Obama administration. Below is a piece I wrote in June 2014, which will explain how much we got to this point. And it's interesting here about orchestrated government solicit escorts for 65,000 immigrant children in January. And you can look at it yourself. That's around January 29th, 2014. All right, original synopsis, and it is all right there under fizbizops.gov. Okay, if you have any doubt that the current immigration disaster was orchestrated, then you really need to read this. Some call me a conspiracy theorist. You can call me what you will, but I simply refuse to make excuses and believe in coincidences when the evidence is just plain as day. Back in January, a solicitation was made to specifically escort and resettle 365,000 legal immigrant children. They knew this was coming. The government either planned it or turned a blind eye. Either way, they did nothing to try to stop it or fix the problem. The government simply ordered more Band-Aids. Notice the solicitation deals specifically with kids. Also notice that it isn't a solicitation to help prevent any such occurrence like fixing fences or hiring more agents. It is more of an administration mission that the children are coming in an effort to make their entry more comfortable. The solicitation came from fizbizops.gov. It can be found here. The description is procurement type, request for information, sources sought. Title, escort for unaccompanied alien children. Classification code V5, transportation, travel, relocation. NAICS code 561612. Primary POC, Rachel Ally, contract specialist, rachel.ally@ice.vh.gov. So if you want to email them on this, do it on your own free will. Or primary, secondary POC, Tony Ross, contracting officer. You can contact him at tony.ross@ice.dhs.gov. An introduction. U.S. government and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, a component of the Department of Homeland Security, has continuing and critical responsibility for accepting custody of unaccompanied alien children from the U.S. Border Patrol and other federal agencies that transporting these juveniles to Office of Refugee Resettlement, or ORR, shelters located throughout the continent of the United States. ICE is seeking the services of a responsible vendor that shares the philosophy of treating all UAC with dignity and respect while adhering to standard operating procedures and policies that allow for an effective, efficient, and incident-free transport. The contract shall provide unarmed escort staff, including management, supervision, manpower, training, certifications, licenses, drug testing, equipment, and supplies necessary to provide on-demand escort services for non-criminal, non-delinquent, unaccompanied alien children, infant to 17 years of age, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Transportation will be required for either category of UAC or individual juveniles, to include both male and female juveniles. There will be approximately 65,000 UAC in total, 25% of local ground transport, 25% via ICE charter, and 50% via commercial air. Escort services include, but are limited to, assisting with transferring physical custody of UAC from DHS to Health and Human Services, care via ground or air methods of transportation, charter or commercial carrier. Property inventory, providing juveniles with meals, drafting reports, generating transportation documents, maintaining stocking daily supplies, providing and issuing clothing as needed, coordinating with DHS and HHS staff, travel coordination, limited stationary guard services to accommodate for trip disruptions due to inclement weather, faulty equipment, or other exigent circumstances in emergency situations, the contractor shall be called on to provide temporary shelter locations such as trailers or shower facilities for juveniles who are pending placement with HHS when bed space is unavailable nationwide for extended periods of time. The contractor shall provide temporary guard services and other support as necessary during these emergencies. I realize that the immigration problem is not new, but the current situation is clearly a contrived event. If anyone out there believes that this solicitation and the current flood of immigrants are simply cases of business as usual and an unforeseen problem, then you also likely believe that the DHS needs billions of bullets for target practice. Actually, the letter is true, but you might want to do some research on the nature of those targets because they aren't made of paper. With a previous solicitation like this from DHS, probably so. But that's not my point. The government must be held accountable for what is happening, and people need to open their eyes and understand that this is part of the game plan. More immigration means more liberal voters in the future. That is a direction that is coveted by not only the left, but a large portion of the establishment right. Our government knows that the Americans cannot, in good conscience, turn a blind eye toward these immigrant kids. We're still the nation of good people, and no one wants to see children suffer. That is exactly what they are counting on. And I know you hear a train going by, so one moment. Yep, you can hear that coming by right now. Here it goes. Woo! Alright, no problem. I'm going to have a good laugh once in a while. I'm going to have a good laugh. So, that is exactly what they're counting on. And they knew how the nation would react, of course. So you got to see it that way. That's why I always observe responsibly when it comes to propaganda matrix and so forth. You always look at things in a bigger picture. But it's obvious that our government is, at the very least, not trying to stop this, and as I believe, the manufacturing the problem to advance their agenda. We simply want to see these borders secured and the laws enforced before we talk about immigration policy reform. Is that too much to ask? That's reasonable zippers. So, end of article, or 2014 article, says here, do you see what just happened here? Democrats create the problem so they could use it as political fuel later. Democrats don't care about these children. They're just pawns on the 3-day chessboard. Nothing much ever changes in the district of corruption. This is originally from D.C. Clothesline. See, I may call them district of sea suckers, if you know what I'm saying. You can figure that one out, or rooster suckers, right? Well, like this, my friends, sometimes you gotta always look at the Club of Rome agenda as well. It's happening worldwide. It's not just the United States. It's happening around the world. The whole goal is to have 10 regions of the planet, and they can all be ruled. Look at for example, the European Union. All right, look what's happening over there. You gotta stop all the BS wars itself and the pathetic war on drugs. A lot of stuff I'm not too keen on. But one of the areas for sure is legal immigration is a problem, regardless if you look at where they come from. Let's make that clear. And there's a lot of good folks out there are being, a lot of these kids here are being pawns of the game. That's not good either. You have rules there as well, so you have to look at that. One of the areas where I can see these kids at least get treated like human beings. If they get dissed from their families to go up there, that's very damn dangerous. And they're irresponsible for sure. I know there's a lot of big wars are happening, and so that's a real shame. So there's one thing I just gotta look at, you know what I'm saying? But all right, I'll be back in a moment, so stay tuned. All right, so next one I'm gonna be reading here is entitled U.S. News, Where Are the Girls? Child Trafficking Fears. DHS can't say where immigrant girls are being held. This is by Matt Agoras. As debates swim over illegal immigration, Americans on both left and right at each other's throats, pointing fingers over who's responsible. In the meantime, what was a conspiracy theory a month ago is now being confirmed by the very people accused of keeping people in cages One question, however, is just have been raised, which gives one dark, silky feeling inside when thinking about the potential answers to it. Where are the girls? There is something particularly disturbing about the missing minuscule amount of footage recently released by HHS last week. It only shows boys, and only boys age 10 and up. Where are the girls? Where are the toddlers? Where are the babies? Could it be that HHS is now releasing footage of these older boys who portray an image of less suffering and compliant young men in order to keep the public happy? Are the places where the girls are kept so disturbing that none of this footage can be released? These are also some questions you got to look at. According to official policy, the government does not remove toddlers and babies from their mothers. However, as TFTP reported, a mother from Honduras who came to the U.S. seeking asylum with her family says she was breastfeeding her infant at a detention center when her baby was suddenly taken from her with no warning and no explanation. Now the question of where are the girls had it become such an issue made its way to the White House, and a reporter asked Department of Homeland Security Chief Christian Nielsen Monday afternoon during a White House press briefing. A reporter asked, why is the government only releasing images of the boys being held? Where are the girls and toddlers? Nielsen could not answer. When asked about the now infamous footage released by HHS that has been played all day on every major network showing boys inside Brownsville, Texas, Walmart turned detention center, Nielsen claimed she never saw it. When passed on the issue, Nielsen then deflected the reporter, claiming that she will look into that. Reporter, why is the government only listing images of the boys being held? Where are the girls and toddlers? Nielsen, I took into that, which is on the PC Twitter of Politico, June 18th. Also Monday, ProPublica released an audio recording that was taken inside U.S. Customs border facility. It is nothing short of heartbreaking. The clip recorded of two girls who had just been separated from their parents. They are scared to death and wailing as the border agent jokes, "We have an orchestra here." You can hear it for yourselves. So, since the question of where are the girls began to gain traction, a firestorm has erupted on social media of people fearing the worst. Many people are claiming that they are being trafficked or abused. Indeed, as TFTP reported yesterday, a police officer was arrested for abusing one of these little girls and threatening her undocumented mother while deportation if she spoke up. Exactly what is happening to the girls that are making it over the border remains unclear. However, the video above is enough to show that something has changed. Sadly, however, the left and right divide makes effective change nearly impossible. These children are being used as pawns in a political game as rivals bicker over how to handle them while ignoring real factors that will curb this massive immigration problem. Many Americans have been taught to humanize these refugees and to believe that it is not our problem. However, these refugees are a direct result of decades-old U.S. policy. In a heart-wrenching video above, one of the girls claimed to be from Honduras. Honduras is currently a crime-ridden hellhole rife with gang violence as cocoa plantations thrive, all thanks to the war on drugs. Because making something illegal does nothing to curb the demand for it. The war on drugs is an act of a fuel to fire the gang violence and the crimes in these South and Central American countries by creating an incentive for criminals to capitalize on the constant demand. Do we folks, do us a favor, just read about the war in 20s, the prohibition of alcohol in the United States of America. Same thing, different package, what we're seeing today, right? Absolutely. As a Free Thought Project reported, Ron Paul provided penetrating wisdom on truly effective ways to deal with the situation while providing a financial benefit and removing the giant injustice between being penetrated by the U.S. government and the war on drugs from Ron Paul Institute. Likewise, the 40-year war on drugs has produced no benefit to the American people at a great cost. It's an estimate that since President Nixon declared a war on drugs, the U.S. has spent more than trillions of dollars to fight what is a losing battle. That is because, just as with the welfare magnet, there is a numerous incentive to smuggle drugs into the United States. We already know that the effect ending the war on drugs has on illegal smuggling, as more and more U.S. states decriminalizing marijuana for medical and recreational uses. Marijuana smuggling from Mexico to the U.S. has dropped by 50% from 2010. Think about that. 50%. That is half. Amazing, right? Tell that to Jeff Sessions and some of these crack jobs that want civil asset forfeiture going. Want that program to go. This view is backed by data from the U.S. Sentencing Commission. In fiscal year 2015, illegal immigrants were responsible for 75% of the federal drug possession charges. Amusingly, both Sean Hannity and Political Fact confirmed this. Data show that the illegal alien category accounted for 1,640 of 2,181 total convictions, 75%, in which the primary charge was simple drug possession. It is important to note that a rise in gang violence in El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala has caused a massive influx of immigrants seeking refuge lately. They are coming in by the thousands in an attempt to escape this violence created by the war on drugs. You can thank gun control for those countries as well. That's how these scumbag governments are. Doesn't matter what you look like. I don't care if you got white skin, black skin, or brown skin, etc. If you're garbage, I'm calling you all out. It's called ethics, being ethical. Instead of looking at the cause of this violence, however, U.S. policy is to separate immigrant children from their parents while prosecuting the adults. It is supposed to somehow be a solution. Paul also points out the burden of free medical benefits, food assistance, and education to give it to illegal aliens, which amounts to about $100 billion a year. Granted, many of them are part of the workforce in sectors such as agriculture, or not paying taxes and sending money back to Mexico creates a significant imbalance. Instead of wearing the badge of the largest prison population in the world and continuing to convert Walmarts into detention centers, the United States could begin eliminating the national debt, reduce crime, foster personal liberty, and drastically decrease criminal gangs that flourish from prohibition. And all it would have to do would be to end the war on drugs. Sadly, at least for now, it appears that these dinosaurs in D.C. think that caging children, ripping them out of their parents' arms, and repeatedly deporting them at the expense of the taxpayer is the only solution. Please share this article with your friends and family and show them that there's a very real solution to this horrifying problem. Until this issue is pushed into the mainstream, the problem will only get worse. And that's Matt Agresti from the Free Thought Project. And absolutely, like I said before, prohibition didn't work in the 1920s. So what you nitwits, knuckleheads, and stagnant buffoons, police state hard-ups, believe this is going to happen again. And look what's going on in all these other countries as well, and their gun control exemption. And I have friends of mine, good friends of mine that come from those areas, and they loved it, and they love this country. They came physically, and many of them did not rely on government handouts. They said, no, we're going to work our way, and they did. Always pay homage to these individuals. And this is why. It's ethics is the key, not ethics, okay, to solve things. So that's why when I see stuff like this, it really is disturbing. What they're doing is made sometimes part of the legal immigration issue. Human trafficking is a big issue in areas of the world, including the United States. Even Florida, for goodness sake, South Florida is a great example. They come in here like in the cargo loads, and they scatter them. They scatter them everywhere. It's really disturbing. And so like I say, you got to share this information with everyone you know. Put the truth out. The drugs, the war on drugs is a sham. It's like the war on terror. And anything else the government says the war is on what? It's all nothing more than a facade, a rhetorical deception. End the drug war, support freedom, and defy tyranny. Do it on the local level and from the ground up, not the top down. All right. Well, this one here, same site. City banning zoning orders effectively banning legal retail gun sales. Such action by the township would be illegal and unconstitutional under both state and federal law. By Tim Brown. So you thought you would go to sleep, but Barack Hussein Obama Sotoro, so Barack was out of office, he usurped, and Donald Trump came in. Then again, the Second Amendment's under attack, like no other time under Obama, and the latest attack comes from a city in New Jersey. Yep, the Garden State, right? Yeah, sometimes they got many of the parts of these synthetic gardens full of feces by political bobbleheads. Look at me on people. There's some awesome folks in Jersey too. I love it. They know exactly where I'm coming from. On Thursday, the city of Piscataway passed a zoning ordinance that effectively banned all legal retail sales of guns, which means an effective end to the gun stores in the city. Oh, they just say support unemployment. Oh, yeah. Oh, they support job growth. Yeah, a bunch of lying saps, right? According to a Facebook post by Piscataway, sorry, the name is too funny. Piscataway. Piscataway. Okay, I'll call it Piscataway from now on. Piscataway Township passed an ordinance prohibiting the sale of firearms and ammunition within 1,000 feet of sensitive locations. What the hell is that? Sensitive locations. The ordinance was authored by Ward 3 Council member Steve Kahn, an attorney and former U.S. Marine captain. Okay, an attorney. All right, former U.S. Marine captain. A traitor from within. Yeah, he probably scraped the tails and shined shoes just to get that position, allegedly speaking. Well, Mr. Khan, do you remember your oath, sir, to uphold and defend the U.S. Constitution, including the Second Amendment, from enemies, foreign and domestic? Steve Khan has just become a domestic enemy of the people of Piscataway and the United States, along with those he serves on the city council. The federal government had been willingly absent on the epic of gun violence. Councilmember Khan said, the president and congressional majority apparently mirror the demagoguery is left for the state and local governments to protect our residents. So we acted. Oh, it's a witch hunting fetish. That's how you get your position as a captain. Oh yeah, I like to scapegoat people. I can't even look in the mirror. Call yourself a Marine, please. Right now, your rhetoric is worse than toilet paper. All right, so he said gun violence is not an epidemic. Epidemics are disease-related, Mr. Khan. The federal government should be silent on gun violence as we give them absolutely no authority to speak or legislate when it comes to arms. Or did you forget that part about the right of the people to keep and bear arms should not be infringed? While you are attempting to infringe on the rights of the people you represent, seems you did. An AR-15 with a standard round and the maximum range of 400 to 600 meters, at the very least, those who sell these weapons of war under federal tax laws should not be that close to places where children and families gather. The measure is co-sponsored. Councilman Steve Kahn said, since the federal government refused to ban these weapons, we need to be more provocative at the local level. I don't know what the hell Mr. Kahn talking about military weapons of AR-15s. And then some soldiers told me, hey, if you go to take AR-15 to war, you'd be the laughing stock. Mr. Kahn, do you realize the Second Amendment allows citizens to have weapons of war, don't you? Furthermore, AR-15s are not used in war. Sir, as you well know, so you claim is an absolute lie. Furthermore, the federal government doesn't possess the authority per our Constitution, which you swore to uphold and are trashing like a good little communist, though you claim to be a Marine, to ban such weapons or any weapons for that matter. If you think it does, please cite at the very text that gives either the federal government that right to infringe on the rights of the people, or where you're deriving your authority to infringe on the people's rights to purchase or possess such weapons. You can't. That's why you and your colleagues are up usurping authority. That's called tyranny, not freedom. On the measure, retail sales would be banned near schools, daycare sites, college campuses, medical facilities, bars, parks, places of worship, and similar sites. So I got a question for you, Mr. Khan. All the police in New Jersey or Piscataway. I just find that really humorous. I'm sorry. Yeah, Piscataway, right? Yeah, Piscataway. All right. All the police in Piscataway obligated to protect an individual. If so, prove me if you dare. I don't think so, and I know, and I'm real damn convinced. Because they have a thing called sovereign immunity tort liability law. According to Facebook post, Khan's initiative complements the 6 state bills recently signed into law by Governor Phil Murphy that will also stem the tide of gun violence. Khan attended the signing ceremony in Trenton yesterday. How nice. So how many apples you polish should you be there, right? None of this will stem to the tide of gun violence. There's nothing more political grandstanding They claim that they're doing something when they are doing nothing except infringe on the rights of the people. Banning the retail sales of guns effectively kills the ability to purchase guns in the city, and the next step is going to be akin on confiscating the remaining guns. Mark my words, it's only logical because this ordinance will do nothing to stop gun violence. Zero, sip, nada. The Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs issued a letter via their attorneys that states that the ordinance effectively eliminates retail sales of guns in the city, as the ordinance is unconstitutional. And come on here. Oops. Ooh. One moment. And it says it's pretty interesting. In citing multiple cases that ANJRPC stated, be advised that such action by the township would be illegal and unconstitutional under both state and federal law. Citing TeknoAXE versus Alameda County, 873, which is 9th Circuit 2017, the letter states that the ruling does not support the township position. TeknoAXE placed on the fact that there were 10 other gun stores in Alameda County, and therefore the plaintiffs could not demonstrate the impairment of the ability to purchase firearms within the jurisdiction. Even the 9th Circuit in TeknoAXE recognized that the jurisdiction cannot impair the ability of law body to acquire firearms in its jurisdiction. And as you were no doubt aware, Piscataway has no gun stores in the township, and news reports have indicated the goal of the proposed ordinance is to keep that away. This is plainly unlawful under any existence of law. The ANJRP also intends to bring legislation around against the town, something that will cost the residents if the town attempts to enact this unlawful ordinance. This proposed ordinance would violate the Second Amendment as well as state law preempting towns from regulating firearm sales, said ANJRPC Executive Director Steve Starkott-Bach. The statement, the premise behind the ordinance is absurd. Criminals don't buy guns from licensed dealers and locating sales 1,000 feet from property in Piscataway will neither stop nor deter some intent on doing evil. Local grandstanding politicians pushing this measure don't seem to understand the difference between law-abiding gun owners and criminals. This originally came from the Sons of Liberty Media, so that's pretty cool. I always enjoy their work in there as well. I'd like to thank you, Mr. Brown, for that. And the truth of the matter is, my friend, they just violated certain articles too, laws under their own state constitution, including the oath of office. I'm not going to read that to you right now. Oh, I was goofed up. But right now I goofed up. But
hey,
will I do
Nina,
that?
Italiano, come here. Is this a silver pack? What is this? The silver one. I want ultralight. Don't worry, you're Italian. You got this. Is that a silver pack?
Yeah, people trying to get their mix fit.
No. Silver pack.
It's funny 'cause
hey, by the way, happy Italiano.
Yeah, it's interesting here because paragraph 1, Article 1, paragraph 1 of the state constitution is titled "Rights and Privileges." All persons by nature are free and independent and have certain natural and inalienable rights, among which those are enjoying and defending life, liberty, and acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and of pursuing safety, pursuing and obtaining safety and happiness. If you all go all the way down here, it is, I think it's 21, excuse me. This enumeration of rights and privileges should not be construed to impair or deny others retained by the people. So, that ordinance in Piscataway is illegal, null and void. Okay, make that real simple. But they don't want you to know that. They believe they're protecting the people. Like I said before, the police aren't obligated to protect you in Piscataway. All right. All you gotta do is look at your state statute under sovereign immunity and tort liability. You'd be surprised, my friend. They don't have legal protection for an individual. They protect themselves, the public to the best of their ability, but not obligated to protect you as an individual. So, what you can do is a recall. Yeah. Article 4. Is it Article 4? Yeah. You can do what happened was they actually reached their oath of office under Article 4, I believe it's Section 7, subsection 2. Yeah, exactly. I like what it says here. Every officer of the legislature shall, before he enters upon his duties, and take subscribe the following oath of affirmation. I do solemnly swear, promise, and swear or affirm that I will faithfully and impartially and justly perform all the duties of office the position, do the best of my ability, and understand that I will carefully preserve records, papers, writings, and properly entrust the people for safekeeping virtue of my office. Make such disposition as required by law. So that's interesting. They're like oath of office, right? Actually, here, excuse me, I messed up. I just spoke to Article 4, Section 7, subsection 1. Like it says here, members of the legislature shall, before they enter on their duties of the respective offices, take and subscribe the following oath of affirmation. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of New Jersey. Then I will faithfully discharge the duties of senator or member of the General Assembly according to the best of my ability. Members elected of the Senate or General Assembly are empowered to administer said oath and affirmation to each other, and city council members and all that as well. So I can tell you all that. But you have an oath, and one thing you could do to resolve that for the folks in Piscataway, including Council Conman, says here, Article 1, Section 2B. The authorized recall says the people reserve unto themselves the power to recall at least a 1-year service any elected official in the state or representing the state in the U.S. Congress. The state shall act to provide for such recall laws. Any such in the provision of recall elections shall be upon petition to be spent by registered voters in the electoral district ought to be recalled. If the legislation implemented this Constitutional Amendment is enacted within 1 year of the adoption of the amendment, the Secretary of State shall, by regulation, implement the Constitutional Amendment, except that regulations adopted by the Secretary of State shall be superseded by any provision consistent with this Constitutional Amendment governing recall elections. Sufficiency of any statement of reasons or grounds procedurally required shall be political rather than judicial question. So you can do a recall, all right, any elected official in this state. So the council of Piscataway can get all tossed out. If they have an election this year, if not, do it next year. Okay, do a recall vote. Toss these douchebags out. Truth of the matter is, doesn't matter where you at, even in Piscataway, New Jersey, they need you more you need them. They don't want to believe that they want to be the slave masters. Okay, they're pro involuntary servitude. Plain and simple. That's why you gotta always have to do everything, look at everything into a bigger picture. All right, so I'll do one more here, which is some good news. I talked about him a while back, and it's about Fane Roseman. And it's from Miami Herald, came out yesterday. And it says here, South Florida activist is a 2-0 at the Supreme Court after First Amendment victory is by Alex Daugherty. Washington, a South Florida man just won a First Amendment victory at the Supreme Court in a case that could protect disgruntled citizens from an arrest for voicing their displeasure at elected officials during public meetings. The nation's highest court ruled in favor of political gadfly Fane Roseman on Monday in an 8-1 decision, the culmination of more than a decade of work for Roseman after he was dragged out of a Riviera City Beach Council meeting and arrested after speaking out about allegedly corrupt dealings of a Palm Beach County commissioner. So if they get a little offended, they get them arrested. It shows their true nature and true honorable patriotism. Yep, so we're going to be hearing some wacky music right now. My Sharona. I hated that song when I was a kid. I hate it now. With their G-string ties and their pretty boy looks. And a couple of songs people like, and boop, there we go. So, we'll continue with this ordeal. And I'll be hitting it right now. So, well, things gonna happen here. Whoop. All right. All right. So Loeb is now 2-0 at the Supreme Court, an accomplishment that his lawyer said is unprecedented for an individual plaintiff in a court that rejects around 7,000 cases every year, and he is only 80. He won a maritime law case related to his floating home in 2013. As far as I know, he's the only person who's done it in recent times, said Pam McCarlin, an attorney from Stanford Law School, who argued Loeb's case in front of the court. There were people who got the same case twice to the Supreme Court, but those were not two different cases. The court decision on Monday affects citizens who show up for public news to defend and question the actions of elected officials. If one official orders the arrest of someone speaking at a public meeting and the rest of the elected body doesn't object, the person arrested can now have a cause of action against the municipality if he or she can prove animosity. Of course, you always gotta see it that way. And remember, you got these shysters in there because they got the water more than you. Hopefully, those cities out there that are corrupt are paying attention. This means it's hard for angry elected officials to use their power to arrest people they simply don't like. There's been a major effort to try to crack down on the overbreadth of government power towards citizens who want to exercise their First Amendment rights. Those who said in an interview on Monday, this arrest happened in 2006 and the case was filed in February 2008. We've been fighting this case for over 10 years. It's been a Herculean effort. This isn't Loeb's first time in front of the Supreme Court. The semi-retired South Florida stock trader turned First Amendment dictator also won a Supreme Court case in 2012 when Justice ruled 7-2 that Loeb's floating home was not a vessel and there is not subject to federal maritime jurisdiction that eventually led local officials to seize and destroy it. Yeah, because they think they know better. Roseman was already victorious in his fight against Riviera Beach that led to his arrest in the first place. He saved other people's homes from being taken via intimate demand for a new private marina in Riviera Beach. He was able to keep the public marina out of private hands. I won the case today, but I won that I really wanted years ago, which was a marina. Logan said they didn't take the marina, and the scum that tried to do that are out of power. We finally got the last one out of the kicked out last month. But while fellow citizens are able to keep their boats and homes on the marina, Logan has been consumed with the First Amendment fight for the people like him who are thrown out of public meetings for needling elected officials. I've heard horror stories from all over the country. People call me and they say they were physically thrown out of meetings. If you go on YouTube, there's a lot of people being dragged out by elected officials, and I want to stop that, Roseman said. Adding that he worked between 8,000 and 9,000 hours on his two Supreme Court cases. Yes, they're playing big 105.9 here. I always say commercial music radio really blows. Catlin said it was Logan's idea to pursue the First Amendment case as a potential Supreme Court pick. He approached the Sanford lawyers with this plan for doing the research on his own. Ain't that awesome? See, anything can happen. For years and years and years, I've worked in these cases from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. 5 days a week, Logan said. I taught myself the law. I think that is the most light kind of hobby. Every night, I kind of build the groundwork to have this case to go to the next step. It became building a boat. Building this case. The rulings in Logan's favor was narrow in the sense that it applied to elected boards and municipalities who removed speakers from their meetings. There were also questions within the lawsuit about people arrested by police during events like protests or not engaged in the act itself, such as journalists and bystanders. Those questions weren't part of the Supreme Court decision. Good example is breach the peace. He used that garbage all the time. These penile microphone governmental delegates to be exact. Basically, they made a distinction. They made a distinction between individual police officers and the decision of the municipality, Logan said. We have the facts to make a broader First Amendment challenge. They gave it to us, but they didn't give it to the media. I'm looking for a member of the media to move this issue forward. Logan said the ruling was a dream come true, and that he's happy to win by a larger margin on Monday than in 2012. Clarence Thomas was the only justice rule against Logan. Go figure, he's Monsanto's butt boy, okay? I can say that. Clarence Thomas is the butt boy. I'm thrilled, I'm glad Justice Anthony Kennedy voted for me this time, Logan said. Last time he descended, and I'm glad he came around. Hey, to all you Clarence Thomas supporters, are there any spiders came out of his chamber? Hopefully you figure that one out. Logan said he will continue to advocate on First Amendment issues and still fighting in the courts who will pay about $230,000 in legal fees. But today was a culmination of 12 years of hard work. I think my dream came true. I knew what happened to me was wrong, and I never thought I had to go all the way to the Supreme Court to make things right, Logan said. I helped move the bar for the First Amendment, and he absolutely did. And I will congratulate and commend and pay homage to Mr. Lozeman for standing up for what's right. And all these people out there who are a bunch of bench warmers and whiners, don't want to take action, heed his practice, because he took the initiative and went further and looked out for everyone in Riviera Beach's best interest. You can do it, we all can. All you gotta do is invest in time. Do your homework. Know your rights. There's no damn excuses. When I hear people complain, I go, what are you gonna do about it? You go, nothing. I tell them to shut the hell up, because they're contaminating space. So I gotta say one thing. This is a big slap in the face to these arrogant, corrupt slime bags in office. Whether it's Riviera Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Homestead, Miami Gardens, Miami Shores, etc. Just giving you those cities an example. You are now under the microscope. There's that old saying, you may be watching us, but we are watching you. And Mr. Lozeman brought that bar a little bit higher. Larry Flint would back him up 100%, I guarantee you that. Whew. All right, my friends, that is it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share through your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or if you may want to check out, whatever you do, please address your correspondences with decorum. You hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, YouTube, Freedoms Network, Minds.com, FutureNet.club, Patreon.com/LookALuck3 Gab at gab.ai, yours.org, oneway.org, and buddieslist.co. In addition, you can email me at localluck3@gmail.com or the encrypted ones, especially with the ones who like Proton Mail accounts. localluck303@protonmail.com. All right, my friends, once again, thank you for your time. But always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love. And may your guardian spirits be with you.